I never believed in fate until it unraveled me from the inside out. My name is Dr. Gordon Thorne, and for over a decade I was the driving force behind the Erebus Quantum Research Facility, a monolithic fortress of steel and concrete buried deep in the unforgiving Alaskan wilderness. Hidden beneath miles of snow-swept tundra, it stood isolated by design, where the aurora borealis danced like ethereal ghosts across the night sky. Our work demanded secrecy, and the remote location ensured any mistakes would be contained. Or so we thought. Our pursuit was revolutionary, entangling subatomic particles with the primordial void, a theoretical abyss predating the Big Bang, a boundless soup of pure potentiality, where time, space, and matter dissolved into nothingness. It was the ultimate frontier, promising to rewrite physics, unlock infinite energy, and bend even reality itself. Obsession had long consumed me. I'd sacrificed 2 marriages to this dream, watching my wives fade into the shadows of late-night equations and endless simulations. Friendships withered under my single-minded focus. Colleagues who once shared drinks and debates now averted their eyes, murmuring of my mad genius. But I didn't care. The void whispered to me in dreams, a chilling emptiness that promised answers to questions humanity dared not ask, its voice like a cold wind slithering through cracked bones. My team was small but elite. Lena Vasquez, my brilliant second-in-command, a quantum physicist with a razor-sharp mind and a hidden fragility. She'd buried her grief over a family lost in a car accident beneath layers of unyielding work. Marcus Hale, our engineer, was a burly pragmatist who cracked jokes to mask insecurities rooted in a childhood of poverty and loss. Then there were the others. Vikram Singh, our eager young data analyst, Sarah Klein, the prodigy intern fresh from MIT, and a handful of technicians whose names blurred in our shared mania. They followed me blindly, seduced by promises of glory, etching their names into science's annals. We were a fractured family, bound by hubris and the intoxicating thrill of the unknown. The night of the experiment descended like a gathering storm. The lab hummed with sterile precision, the air thick with ozone and heated metal. Fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, casting jagged shadows across monitors and control panels. Beneath us, the collider, a colossal ring of superconducting magnets, thrummed with latent power. We'd spent months calibrating it, syncing qubits to faint echoes of the void, subtle ripples in space-time, like whispers from the edge of oblivion. "Systems nominal," Marcus reported, his fingers dancing over the keyboard. Lena stood beside me, dark hair tied back, eyes locked on the central display. "Entanglement sequence ready, Gordon. This is it." I nodded, my heart pounding with exhilaration laced with dread. "Initiate." Lena's voice sliced the tension. "Entanglement initiated." The collider roared to life, a low thrum swelling like the heartbeat of some ancient, awakening beast. Energy surged, particles hurtling towards light speed, bridging the gap to the void. For a breathless moment, silence reigned, profound, expectant. Success. Then, reality fractured. It began subtly, a ripple in the air, like heat haze distorting sun-scorched asphalt. Lights flickered, and an unnatural chill seeped in, bone-deep and insidious, as if the void itself exhaled frost into our veins. Shadowy figures materialized at vision's edge. Humanoid at first. Elegant silhouettes gliding through corridors with otherworldly grace, tall and slender. Their forms shifted like smoke, whispering in tongues that clawed at buried memories, half-remembered childhood nightmares or something deeper, ancestral echoes of terror. The words weren't heard. They resonated in the mind, stirring a profound loss and infinite, aching longing that made the soul ache with rot. But grace decayed into nightmare. The figures twisted before our eyes, limbs elongating into jagged claws, bodies fracturing into swarms of ravenous abominations. What started as spectral elegance became grotesque parodies of life, skin splitting to reveal chitinous exoskeletons, eyes multiplying like festering sores, weeping pus that hissed on the floor. They clawed at existence's edges, movements jerky and predatory, tearing through an invisible veil with wet, ripping sounds. And with them came the inverse time loop. Time didn't rewind, it inverted, folding backward in a nightmarish spiral, eroding the present toward an abyssal origin. Clocks spun counterclockwise erratically, hours compressing into seconds, days stretching into inverted eons where cause birthed effect in maddening, inescapable loops that echoed with the screams of futures undone. Panic erupted like a bursting vein. Alarms blared, warping into guttural howls that reverberated through the facility like the cries of dying gods. Servers glitched, screens flickering from digital interfaces to analog dials, then devolving into crude abacuses of bone and stone, as if technology's very essence unraveled like frayed sinew. Our memories splintered in sync, flashes of personal histories pulling apart like threads from a rotting tapestry. I saw Lena convulsing, screaming as she relived the fall of Rome, her mind trapped in a legionnaire's body, hacking at shadows with a gladius, the metallic tang of blood choking her throat. Marcus muttered of prehistoric hunts, eyes wild, quantum equations erased by spear-throwing instincts honed in a world of fang and claw, where survival's raw stink clung to the skin. The entities fed on the chaos, black, writhing masses with too many eyes glowing like embers in an endless night. They devoured the fracturing timeline, dismantling history layer by layer. Tech regressed, holograms crumbling to papyrus scrolls. Then flint tools etched with primitive symbols, finally dissolving into raw elements, stone and earth, cold and unyielding. The facility transformed, cell walls pulsed with organic veins, corridors twisting into labyrinthine caves dripping with bioluminescent slime, that whispered obscenities. The air thickened, humid and fetid, reeking of decay and primal musk, as if the void birthed a regressive reality from its festering womb. Paranoia spread like a plague through our dwindling group. "They're inside us," Marcus hissed one night. Time had dissolved, days bleeding into inverted eons where sunrises felt like extinctions. We huddled in the control room's remnants, now a throbbing cave with walls of living flesh, veins of shadow pulsing beneath like hidden hearts. The swarms intensified, devolving into primal horrors, all teeth and insatiable hunger, amorphous blobs splitting and reforming, devouring light with slobbering maws. They didn't just attack. They unearthed our savage cores, a gnawing urge in my bones to tear into raw flesh, to howl at unseen moons, to shed reason for the blood-soaked thrill of the hunt. The void stripped civilization's veneer, exposing the beast beneath, its breath hot and rank on our necks. Poor Vikram succumbed first. On a scavenging run through warped corridors, where vending machines had regressed to piles of roots and gnawed bones, his eyes went vacant. He babbled of hunts before man's dawn, voice a guttural chant. Then the swarm descended, a writhing cloud of claws rending his flesh, dissolving him into their mass with wet, slurping sounds that lingered like echoes in a grave. His screams inverted, starting as a death rattle, building backward to a birth cry, looping in eternal agony. The horror shattered us. Our group dwindled to 6, trapped in the escalating spiral. Scavenging became our desperate right, a futile grasp at survival in the ever-shifting maze. We pored over corrupted logs, once holograms, now stone tablets with runes that shifted like living ink, bleeding across the surface in oily tendrils. Hallucinations assaulted us, obliterated epochs where empires crumbled to barbarism, skyscrapers regressing to ziggurats, then mud huts, dinosaurs prowling where cities once stood, their roars inverting into echoes of future extinctions that chilled the marrow. The void infiltrated our dreams, if such fractured sleep could be called that. Visions of humanity's descent from enlightened souls to crouching primates, then slime-crawling horrors in primordial seas, their wet slither, a prelude to our own dissolution. We must sever the entanglement. I rasped one cycle, voice hoarse from screaming at phantoms. The plan coalesced amid the madness. Overload the collider's core, surge feedback to rupture the void's hold. But the entities whispered through walls like rustling leaves in a gale. You birthed us from hubris. Join the void. They spilled secrets of devoured civilizations, their essences woven into the swarms like threads of forgotten screams. Betrayals cracked our fragile bonds. In the former mess hall, now a fetid cavern strewn with glowing fungi, Lena accused Marcus of sabotage, eyes wild, faint gladius scars from inverted memories etched on her arms like brands. The whispers say he's one of them. Fights erupted in the labyrinthine chaos, corridors twisting into mazes of vines and bone, shadows lunging like living snares, minds fractured. I glimpsed my hands as claws in the dim light, felt the pull to devour, to dominate. Sarah, our youngest, yielded during a scouting mission, turning with a feral grin, teeth bared like a predator's, before melting into the swarm amid ecstatic howls that curdled the blood. The horrors thickened, amorphous blobs of shadow and fang devouring sanity's remnants. Down to 3. Me, Lena, Marcus. We were hunted by our comrades' ghosts. Paranoia climaxed in a brutal skirmish. Marcus, maddened by visions of his youth regressing to ancient famines, lunged at Lena with a bone shard. I intervened, the brawl leaving us bloodied, but it forged tenuous resolve. We pressed toward the core, hulls inverting mid-step, floors flipping to ceilings in gut-wrenching disorientation. In the harrowing climax, as the loop tightened like a noose of thorns, I knew the cost. The core chamber was a maelstrom of inverted time, artifacts swirling like debris in a tornado, Roman coins melting to dinosaur fossils, medieval swords regressing to stone axes, orbiting a yawning black vortex pulsing with unholy light that burned the eyes. The swarms converged, a tidal wave of teeth and eyes, screeching, inverting to primordial roars that vibrated in the chest like impending doom. "Gordon, no!" Lena cried, clutching my arm, but I shoved her back, Marcus holding her. The sacrifice was clear. Entangle myself with the void, channel the surge through my body. As claws grazed my skin, I activated it. Pain erupted, time inverting through my very veins, reliving not my life, but humanity's descent into primal sludge. The void's embrace was cold infinity, pulling me backward, divorces unraveling to courtships, childhood dissolving to ancestral hunts, then further to ape-like grunts in shadowed forests, wriggling forms in oozing seas. The surge built a cataclysmic loop tearing reality's seams. It worked. Fleetingly. A rupture exploded, repelling swarms in inverted light's blinding flash. Their forms disintegrated, screeching into oblivion as the loop shattered, reality snapping back, or its mangled echo. The facility groaned, stabilizing into a ruined husk, the air purging its primal reek. We emerged into a fractured world. Skies bruised violet and crimson, forests whispering ancient urges through pines like predatory breaths. Lena and Marcus survived, staggering beside me, bodies scarred and warped light. But the void's taint lingered, an insidious undercurrent in our veins, urges to hunt, dominate, regress into the glimpsed beasts. I feel it now, clawing my mind, cycle teetering on renewal. Staring at the aurora's mocking faces, I wonder, breakthrough or eternal fall. Yet, wonder faded to certainty. Under that bruised sky, Lena and Marcus yielded first, eyes glazing with feral hunger, turning on each other in a savage frenzy of blood and silence. I resisted, fleeing into the wilderness. but the void's whisper swelled, pulling inexorably. In clarity's final gasp, truth dawned. The entanglement endured, inverting us into vessels for rebirth. With a defiant howl, I surrendered, my form dissolving into the rising swarm, ensuring the cycle's eternal churn, not as conquerors, but willing harbingers of the abyss.